represent Scotland at the Commonwealth Games. So I don't know if that was your highlight of your career. I imagine it must be high up there. What was that actually like?
The handling pressure and just the mindset in competition, performed much better and made the team for that games. I enjoyed giving my knowledge and my experience and imparting that on the gymnasts and making them, improving them, working with them, making them the best that they could be. And that's where the discipline comes into play. I implemented during my training in gymnastics was
Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the podcast. We have a special guest with us today, Barry Koursarys. How are you doing, Barry?
I'm very well, Ryan. Thanks very much for having me on your podcast. Looking forward to it and discussing all things fitness and well-being, and giving you some more of my background and experience in that. So really looking forward to the conversation. I hope everyone takes some value from it.
Yeah, definitely. I've been looking forward to it as well. So Barry is going to actually be part of the podcast, going to be helping us out with stuff. He brings a lot of expertise from his career and his life. So we're going to kind of get into that and talk about it today, and some of the stuff that you've got plenty of knowledge on. So I've got your resume up in front of me because it's very impressive. You've got a lot of stuff. So we'll just quickly cover it and then we'll get into talking about some other stuff. So you were basically a high-level gymnast. You represented Scotland at Commonwealth Games, won lots of medals, different nationals, North European Championship bronze medalist, over 30 caps for Scotland. You had 3 seasons in the British squad. Tons of achievements. So let's start with that first. Where did you kind of get started with getting into gymnastics?
Yeah, so it was way back when I was a kid. I remember being very active, had a lot of energy, just all the way through my childhood. I think it was around eight when I was around 8. I was busy. I was climbing furniture and trees and just constantly energetic, was out and about, I had loads of energy, and my mum and dad decided to put me into a recreational class at one of the clubs in Glasgow. So it was basically like very jumping jacks for kids, just basic gymnastic elements on the floor, the trampette, things like that. Flexibility, they thought would be good for me to go along and see what it was like to put my energy to good use and divert my focus in that. So it really just started once a week on a Saturday. I would go along and really enjoyed it, found it quite easy and enjoyable, just doing basic moves. And really from then I got selected for a Sunday class with the boys squad. So it was all boys training that extra day with the coach, and again just took it like a duck to water, really. Very much found it my home and started to train more days. We'd add another day in, another day in. So I would start going after school. So we started to work on the various apparatuses. So there's 6 apparatuses for men: floor, pommel horse, rings, vault, P-bars, which is parallel bars, is another name for it, and high bar. So started to work my skills on all those events, as well as undertaking a lot of strength and flexibility work, which you need as a basis in order for you to develop as a gymnast. That was a very big component of it, and obviously it's part of what I'm working on just now, which we can come on to later. But at that point, I started getting entered for competitions. I started with like floor and vault competitions at recreational level, then at national level, and then I think it was when I was about 11, I got entered for. I just remember it was me and one of the other boys in the group. We got within the class. There was a new coach that came in and took, I think it was the best six, to work with him, a sort of specialised group in terms of the rest of the squad, so that he could work more closely and prepare us for a higher level of competition. So it was me and one of the other kids that got invited to, it was the National Training Centre in Largs, which is about an hour from Glasgow. And I remember turning up, and there was loads of kids there, all very high level, and it was a whole day of trialling. So they assessed our the first half of the day, I remember, was flexibility. We were getting judged on flexibility, so there's all these flexibility skills we had to do, and then all these strength tests. So there was about, I can't remember how many, 15 or 20 different stations where we got judged on our strength to get, and it was like a point system. So it was how many of these could you do in this time, etc. And then the afternoon was skills on all 6 pieces of the apparatus that we had to do, and we would get judged on that. So at the end, we were out of all the points that we accumulated through the day, I think I ended up with the 4th highest score. I just remember I never fought so hard to try and impress the judges and the people who were involved with the national setup to try and get into this squad. I was just so determined to do it, and ended up getting the 4th highest squad. And then, along with the other boy that was there, he was a couple of years younger. I remember a few weeks later we got a letter through saying that we'd been selected for our respective age group national squads, and we would be attending training camps along with our club training, where the other boys that were selected from the other clubs we would meet together at the weekend and train in the national setup. So that was super exciting for me, and really it just snowballed from there. Really, I ended up training six days a week, every day after school, and even sometimes during school. I would, especially when I went to high school, actually, they made it so that I could access the fitness suite at lunchtime, so that I could do my strength training in there, and they were very supportive of that. And then I just started competing more and more nationally and then internationally from there. So it just became a big part of my life after that, and obviously went on to have a pretty good career. Obviously, as a very competitive person, I wish that I suppose a lot of competitive people maybe have that, is that they look back maybe on the things that they could have done better, or they could have achieved this, or they could have won that, or they could have made the team for this and all that. So I always have that in the back of my mind, but I suppose that's what drives you to become better anyway. But overall, I had a pretty good career, and I've gained a lot from it, and not only in terms of competing, but in terms of going in, learning the coaching side as well, which has been a big part of my career too.
Represent Scotland at the Commonwealth Games. So I mean, what did that feel like? Because that's, I mean, one of the biggest platforms to do it on. I don't know if that was your highlight of your career. I imagine it must be high up there. What was that actually like?
Yeah, that was a phenomenal experience, Ryan. I actually remember when, I think I was a junior at the time, not quite. I wasn't at that level, still working my way up, and we were in a. It was. I remember the moment clearly. We were over in another gym in Cumbernauld training, and I saw a banner on the wall of that gym saying it was a banner displaying the logo of the Commonwealth Games. I think it was in Auckland, if I remember right. It was 1990 or 1994. So I asked my coach, "Oh, what is that?" He said, "That's the Commonwealth Games. That's one of the second biggest sporting event, multi-sporting event in the world. And if you work hard and become good enough one day, you could get there." And then at that moment, I thought that this is what I'm going for. This is what I'm building towards. This is what I need to get there. I would love to get there, and I'm going to make sure that I put myself in, give myself the best opportunity. And that was like a longer term goal as I work my way up the senior ranks. So the games, the Commonwealth Games in Manchester, I just missed out on being selected, and that was a big. I was obviously very disappointed that I didn't manage to do it and get the scores needed. So I came close, but not quite close enough. But that drove me even further in the next 4 years with all the competitions and the season that you go through, to make sure when the next one comes along that I would make the team for that. And when the Melbourne Games came round, I performed obviously with 4 years more experience in terms of handling pressure and this the mindset and in competition, performed much better and made the team for that games. And so that was one of my biggest achievements in my career, and just being there and competing against guys that you watched on the TV, you know, in World Championships and Olympic Games. You watched them, and then they were actually there, and you were going up against them. That was another moment where I realised how far I'd come, and actually the scale of what I'd done, especially with everything that the other distractions, you know, school and university and other pressures, that I managed to stay focused on that, make sure that that was my singular focus, my most important thing that I was going for, to make sure that I competed strongly and made that team. And the actual experience was amazing. We had a really good competition. I was only selected for some of the events as a team. There's a few gymnasts will do all of the events, and then others will just do certain events, because that's how the team format is. Five members in the team, and you put your best four on each apparatus, and on each one that I performed, I did very well. Made one mistake on the pommel horse in the last event, which I wouldn't normally have made, although the rest of the routine was very good. It was a strong team that we had. That was my only sort of sour note in terms of the competition experience. But overall, I did a really good job. We finished fourth. We were very close to, for the first time, to get on the podium. England just beat us to it. I think there was only around 5 points difference, which wasn't that much in the new code, the new judging code of how they judged routines and scores at that time. But overall, it was a phenomenal experience. Happy with what I did, and to compete against the best in the world, you know, some of the best guys. That was also amazing, and also just being away, you know, in another part of the world. The whole experience of being in Australia, and the whole, in terms of being in the athletes village, meeting many other high level athletes from all the other sports, was also a highlight, and you took a lot from it. So happy with the way I acquitted myself and took that experience forward in the rest of my career.
That's amazing. Like, I think competing, as you said, against world level athletes representing your country, like, that's pretty much the peak of any kind of sport or athletics event. So that must be an amazing experience. And you just mentioned before as well about how you moved into coaching. So was that kind of natural as you kind of felt or saw your career coming to an end in terms of doing it yourself? Were you already starting into coaching, or did you kind of have to stop and rethink how you did it? Or was that always the plan, to get into coaching?
Yeah, the coaching one is more of a natural progression. It's not for all gymnasts, but a fair amount of them end up getting into coaching depending on their sort of circumstance or their situation. That some of them might be studying, they may have other work that they're doing, or a slightly different life path. But a fair amount of them start to learn the coaching game during their training, during their actual training and competitive career. So I actually started, I think it was 18 or 19, I started to get my coaching badges, my qualifications, and at that point you just start coaching the very basics of not recreational standard. Obviously, it's you're coaching boys gymnastics on all 6 events, but they'll start you off with a younger group where the skill level is not as high. They're just building up, and then you can gain experience as a coach then. So it was something that I did from from my late teens all the way to the present day, whether I was training, competing myself, or just through a period where I was just coaching and being involved in the sport and increasing my experience in that realm. So that's really how I got into it, and I just found it a very natural progression. I enjoyed giving my knowledge and my experience and imparting that onto the gymnasts and making them, improving them, working with them, making them the best that they could be. Just something that came very natural to me as well. So, and the fact that I had been through that journey also, I could identify with the journey that they were on and help them find their way through and become the most high level gymnast they could be. And so the strength and conditioning aspect was something that I was always very, very good on, because you have to be physically prepared to do the skills that we do, and something that I took a particular interest in.
With sports, it's kind of natural maybe for people to go into coaching afterwards, but I mean, you might get some that haven't done it, but in lots of other kind of areas of life, maybe in health and fitness, you get people that maybe have just done some random qualification that qualifies them for stuff, which is, all well and good. But having someone who's been there, they've done it, they've been through what you have been through, I think is a really powerful thing to have. And it kind of gives you instant kind of respect and social proof that you know what you're talking about, that you've done it. So I think that really helps to have someone coaching you who's got that experience and has done it. Did you just coach in gymnastics, or have you kind of taken what you knew and been able to transfer it to other areas?
Yes, so that's something that I'm currently working on at the moment. So it really started with purely coaching gymnasts. There were also there was a class that we did at the club where it was like an adults class, but it was more freestyling, so that non-gymnasts could come in and actually work on the kit and do some of the strength and conditioning, flexibility aspect that we do as gymnasts. So there was people from many different backgrounds. There was dancers, there was skiers, there was freestylers, trampolinists. There was even a couple of, I think there was a couple of rugby guys as well. They came in and just got involved really in the strength and the endurance, working their cardio, their working their body in different areas, that they may not have been able to, they may not have been able to do in the past, in terms of their background, using their body weight, being more flexible, more mobile, and just getting on the kit. So that was a very good, interesting experience, and worked with various people on that. Some of them would like to because they wanted to learn how to do a somersault, or a handstand, or to do a certain maneuver, and I would help them build the strength capable of doing that. So that was very good. There was some dancers there that wanted to increase their flexibility and their mobility, so I did some work with them, and that was my first experience in terms of working with the general public or those outside of the gymnastic world. Last couple of years, I did some work with a high-level Irish dancing group here in Glasgow, where I developed a programme to help increase their back and their leg strength, their ankles, improve their flexibility and their mobility. So I specifically tailored a programme for them in preparation for their competition schedule, and we did this over several blocks, and it was very successful. They found it very beneficial, and that actually improved their competition performance. The last block that we did was for a select group in preparation for their World Championships, their Irish Dancing World Championships, and it was a couple of months ahead, and I worked with them on a weekly basis on their back strength, their flexibility, and their overall athleticism, which they found really beneficial. And now I'm taking that into the fitness community, all the skills and the knowledge that I've learned, and combining it with obviously general strength that people do in the gym and the PTs work on a daily basis with clients, and bringing my knowledge and experience and combining that into working with people of the general public to help them achieve their fitness goals and get to where they want to improve their confidence, and meet their goals. So that's where I am at the moment, and the experiences that I've had in terms of working with non-gymnasts has helped me, put me in a better position. I'm learning all the time, and the programme I'm working on will be very beneficial to certain people, I believe.
The attributes that you have in gymnastics, like you're saying about the strength and especially the flexibility, can be applied to every kind of part of fitness, really, especially people looking to improve, not necessarily for a sport, but just to improve their health and their fitness. Because I
Absolutely.
mean, the main thing that I kind of am trying to do in terms of helping people around health and stuff is to optimize their health for the long term. You know, I try to say to people to aim more at health rather than just thinking, oh, I just want to lose a bit of weight just for losing weight. Just do everything for the sake of your health, not for maybe how you look. Obviously, how you look will improve as a side benefit, but if you do it for your health, it's more long term. And to be honest, I'd never have thought of this before, and I didn't do it as a child, but as I've learned more with health and fitness and different stuff, and I've come along, people who I've spoken to who I respect and who are very knowledgeable say that one of the best things you can get young kids to do is gymnastics, because of the flexibility and kind of strength it builds in them. I think I've read some kind of crazy stat, you might know better coming from your background, but something like kids start losing their flexibility from like 7 or 8 or some really young age or something. We start losing flexibility steadily for the rest of our life. And thinking about your long-term health and your quality of life as you get older, flexibility is something that you should be really looking at. And I've never been very flexible in my life. So, you know, if I'd been sent to gymnastics as a kid, I'm sure that would be way better. So I think it's a really important thing to do. I mean, if you can start your kids young in it, great. But obviously, for people like me who haven't, it's still not too late to get into things like that, and improve it, which I'm guessing is some of the things that your new exercise program is kind of built around, meshing that strength and flexibility together.
Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. It's a really good point on that. It's never too late to start working on our flexibility and our mobility, especially as we get to midlife. That's something that I think everyone should try and think about going forward, is to start with some basic stretches. I try and stretch every day now, and I'm even getting closer to getting my splits back, believe it or not. Even with a good few years out of gymnastics, but it's all muscle memory, and it's about doing these stretches. It's something that because I spent years doing it, it's starting to come back now. But for any person, I think doing a bit of stretching every day, there's a lot of research and out there and information, that it does help your overall mobility through life. It helps with your posture, helps with the way you carry yourself. It helps to reduce injuries and just gets the blood flowing, and the mind, that all transfers up into the mind as well. So flexibility, mobility work is extremely important. And if your goals are more strength related, or getting bigger, or even putting on more muscle, everyone's got different fitness goals, but incorporating stretching into your workout, even just a couple of minutes before and after, is hugely beneficial. And that's something that I'm incorporating into my program as well, in order to help people with. So there's many different exercises and routines that you can go through, but I always try and do a couple of minutes when I get up every morning, and do a little bit through the day as well. And it just helps to keep the blood flowing and keep your mind sharp as well. So yeah, that's a really important aspect. And obviously, as you mentioned, when you're a child, you're naturally more flexible anyway, and that is the best time, especially with gymnasts. That's something that is a key component that they try and focus on right from the beginning, is to get those splits and that shoulder flexibility, that hip flexibility, not only to be able to do the skills, but also to keep you free from injury. And it's something that, as an adult, even with no experience, it's never too late to start.
Absolutely. In fact, it's something that I need to do more of within sort of my exercise and fitness. Stretching is not anything I've ever done much of, and obviously my flexibility is not great. So that's something I definitely need to improve. So I'll have to steal some tips off you, off you for
Not a
that
problem.
to improve that.
Yep, not a problem. Happy to help.
I think I like to often use analogies for stuff, and the body basically is like a car. And if you maintain your car, it's going to run well. And it's the same with your body, isn't it? In terms of, I talk about with, diet is putting the right things in your car, the right fuel, oil and stuff. And stretching is just the same thing. It's just maintaining it, isn't it? And especially like you said, even if your main thing is just getting bigger and strength, flexibility is still something you should be concentrating on a lot, because it allows you to do more of it. And I'm pretty sure as well, there's quite a lot of research that shows that, stretching the muscles before and after working them actually helps them to grow as well. So it's all beneficial, rather than just no warm up, no stretch, do a couple of bench presses as heavy as you can and then go. That's not going to be that good for you in the long run, even if it might grow your muscles slightly to begin with. Like I say, I'm always trying to think long-term health, not just, you know, what max rep can I get on the bench press? Let's think about what exercise can I do now that means in 30, 40 years time, I'm going to be in the best physical position I can be. That's kind of how I like to look at it, because there's a lot of bodybuilders and or weightlifters and stuff that get to past a certain age and they're a complete physical wreck because they've put their body through too much punishment. You got to work your body but not overdo it.
Absolutely.
So you just mentioned a little bit there about helps with stretching, helps with the mind and stuff as well. And the mental side of things is something that I like to get into as well. I think it's super, super important. And I always talk about how discipline is the key to achieving stuff, not motivation. Motivation is just a feeling, comes and goes. So obviously, in terms of becoming a top level athlete, you would have had to have been supremely disciplined in what you did. So what did you kind of have any certain tricks or routines to help you be disciplined, or is it just something you just got drilled into you and you just like, this is what I've got to do? And how kind of disciplined did you have to be with that?
Yes, that's a big topic of conversation, and it's something that mindset and discipline. I mean, that can transcend into any area, regardless of where it is that you want to go or what you want to be, what you're working on, not just athletically, but also if you're studying to be something, or you're trying to set up a business, or you're whatever it is. climb the next mountain, whatever it is that you're trying to do. Discipline's extremely important, and you're spot on about the motivation aspect. You're not going to feel motivated all the time, and that's where the discipline comes into play. And really, one of the things that I tried to do during, or that I implemented during my training in gymnastics, was trying to anticipate if I was in a sort of mind space where I wasn't feeling like doing another repetition of this skill to try and make it better before I move on to the next one, or stretching that extra minute, whatever it was. I always try to anticipate how I would feel if I decided to take the easy route and just skip it, and see how I would feel an hour or so later. And I try to put myself in that headspace, and it was always the same feeling. I would feel regret about it. I would feel annoyed with myself. I would feel almost like a sense of shame. So I would actually attach that sense of shame to the action to make sure that I don't want to feel like that, because I'm going to have to. And this was even way back when, I had days in school where I was thinking about last night's training session. I was annoyed at myself, because I could have done better in this, or I could have worked a little bit harder, or I could have went for that move. And that helped me to build that sort of discipline, that always anticipate how you would feel if you didn't manage to go that extra inch or that extra mile, or do that extra set of exercises or whatever it is, and avoid that feeling, because you always feel better after giving it 150% and not skipping, especially when it came to conditioning. You can't cheat your way to being strong. You have to put in the work, and you have to go through that pain barrier and that journey. And afterwards, you always feel better. You feel like you're more content and more at peace that you gave it 100%, and that you didn't, leave something out. So that discipline was that I always try to anticipate how I would feel if I was not showing discipline in that moment. And I never liked how I would feel. So I would do everything I could to avoid that, and made sure that I did what I was supposed to do, regardless of how I felt. So that was a little tip a little sort of mind hack that I used to try and make sure that I gave it 100% every time, and that I did what I was supposed to do. Even in days that I didn't feel like training, it doesn't matter how you feel, happy, sad, or indifferent. You have to make that. You have to make that decision to go in and do it anyway. And when you adopt that mindset, you'll just improve. The improvement that you make will be a lot better, a lot faster, and it helps to build momentum as well. And once you start being disciplined, it's easier. It gets easier to retain that discipline. Discipline was obviously very important, not for me, not just in training, but in terms of what I did on the outside. Made sure I got enough sleep and ate right, and just did the right things, so that I could be in the best shape for both mentally and physically for training, because it was it took a lot out of you, and ultimately there's no hiding place in gymnastics. It's you've got to be there, and you've got there's no one really. It's not that kind of sport where someone's coming to bail you out. You have to be focused. You have to be on it and ready every time you're training. Also because it can be dangerous as well. So we had to be 100%. Discipline was really important when it came to that. So
Yeah, that's great. I love that kind of that thing that you did, that hack or tip or whatever you call it, about thinking how you would feel in the future if you didn't. Because so much of what people do today and the decisions they make is just short-term gratitude, short-term gratification, sorry. It's just people are just live in the now, and they just think, well, I'm tired now, so I don't want to do it. But like you say, afterwards you would feel regret you didn't do it. So by you sort of positioning yourself at the afterwards, and how you would feel pushes you to do it in the moment, which
Absolutely.
is brilliant. That's a great way to look at it, because in the moment you always feel like stopping, but you got to look at how you feel in the future. And my whole kind of ideals and stuff around health and fitness is based on that. That yeah, okay, you feel like you can't be bothered to cook proper food and eat properly today, but think about how the long term effects of it. Put the effort in now, do the little things, and like with your training, put the effort in, get the extra bit of training done, and then long term, you're going to achieve more in your career, do better in your career. If you'd have started taking the easy way out with them, I doubt you'd have ended up at the Commonwealth Games. So it's got to think about the long term picture. So I love that how you described that of that I'm going to use that as advice for people that you know put yourself as your future person and look back, and how do you feel having not done what you should have done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's and as you say, it's the anticipation of looking ahead, and I think many people now, as you say, they struggle with that. They'll get something that will come up on their phone, or so much information and distractions that are available to us now. And it's sort of a double-edged sword. We've got so much info and resources available to us, but also it can, and if you use it correctly, you can really improve your life regardless of what it is you're working on. But it also, you can allow, if you don't have that discipline, it tends to distract people, and time gets wasted, and they end up not being as productive as they should have been. So now, for example, I'm very wary about how much about getting my checklist done, my daily checklist, and actually how much time I can use to, if I do have a spare 20 minutes or whatever, that I can sort of allocate that to taking it easy, or do a bit of scrolling, or watching something, whatever it is, but make sure that you keep that structure and that discipline, and do what it is that you need to do on that day. And that's really helped me in terms of the nutrition side as well, because now for me, it's on a regular day, I'll work out at least once, sometimes twice a day, and it's never in my head to just think I've got that fish or that meat in the fridge. You know what? I'm just going to get a carry out. Like that possibility now, it doesn't even enter my mind. It's not even tempting to me, because of how I'll feel if I take that easy road, and it'll actually set me back. So making the effort to cook that nutritious food after my workout now it's so second nature. I don't even give that second thought now. It's baked in, and it's built in now to my mindset. So that's where that whole discipline thing comes to fruition. So yeah, that's really important, that we maintain discipline, and that we don't look for the easy roads, because anything great doesn't come easy.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very true. And as you say, the longer you are disciplined, the easier it becomes, because, like you say, it's just your routine. You don't even have to really think about it, about the fact that you're being disciplined. It's just what you do. Like with the way I eat, when I first started eating now, I eat pretty much carnivore diet. And at first, people are like, "Oh, you're not going to eat this. Just have a little bit of this or that." And at first you're tempted by stuff, but now I'm like, that's the way I eat. That's just it's not a I don't think of it as a diet as such, because people associate diets with fad diets and all that, but that's just my lifestyle. That's how I eat. So I'm not interested in eating other stuff. I'm interested in eating what's best for me, and it's not like a tough decision. It's once you get it going, you get the routine, it's reasonably easy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much for me now. It's obviously at the beginning, especially when you're still learning about stuff to actually make. It can be quite overwhelming for a lot of people, but once you know what you're doing, and you find that structure, and that eating plan that benefits you and that sort of replenishes your energy at the end of the day and sets and gives the body everything that it needs. It's still a subject that I'm learning about, and that is very deep and nuanced, but I'm learning more about it as I go, and I do have a basic framework which in terms of the intermittent fasting, which we'll cover, but that works great for me in terms of the foods that I eat, and just stuff that I've cut out now, and not worrying about what generally what other people are doing. Focus on what works and do it anyway, you know. So I'll for example, I'll eat at least 3 eggs, you know. That's the first thing that I'll eat in the evening before I even have like dinner, for example, because it's just an excellent way to break the fast and gets those healthy fats into your body and sets you up for the next meal, which is normally what I'll have straight after it. So that's all very important. Once you know what you're doing, and you cut out a lot of the sugar, a lot of the sugar and the stuff that just inflames your body, which is not good for inflammation, and you get that core, that structure, to the foundation, if you will, and build on that, then it just makes you feel a lot better. So every day I'm feeling great in terms of what I eat. If I was to work out and then just have a fish and chips or a pizza after, I can really feel the difference. It really does. It feels good for those few seconds, that the couple of minutes where you're having it, but afterwards, I feel very kind of bloated, and my energy goes down, and it's not good. So, and it's not conducive to maintaining a healthy body either, in terms of how you feel, but also how you look.
You notice, as well, as I feel like the cleaner and more healthy you eat, the more you look after yourself, the more you notice how negative the effects are of food you used to eat. But when you ate it all the time, like that was your normal, feeling sluggish after eating, people think that's just normal. Like that's
Yeah,
not normal. And
no,
and when you move away from it and you eat clean, you feel great. And then you eat that one thing you used to eat all the time, and you feel terrible. And you realize that's how you were feeling all the time. It's one of those things, isn't it, where just when you're in something for so long, you don't realize what it used to be like before, or what it could be like. You think that's normal, and
yeah,
it's not. And you were touching on inflammation there too, which that I've just done a series of 4 weeks or so talking about how to be your own doctor, look after yourself, and that was a thing I talked about a bit. Is that basically every single illness, disease, and whatever ailment is basically from inflammation within your
yeah,
body. And your diet is obviously, there's other things that can cause it like stress and whatever, but your diet's the main thing for that. And I just, the more I've looked into it, the more I just don't understand why people don't just take a bit more care on their diet. I suppose it's just what people are kind of conditioned into, but it's the benefits far outweigh any kind of sacrifice you have to put in to look after your diet and just optimize yourself.
yeah. That's a great point, Ryan. Basically, on that is yeah, people do think that that's just how you feel, you know, and
Mm.
that it's not anything that's within their control. But you know, from what I know and what I'm continuing to learn, is that a lot of how you feel in terms of illnesses and things that you know that that can happen to you, that make you feel either ill or unwell or lacking in energy, is really stemmed from your nutrition and what you're putting into your body, and that can affect so much. And it's not the case that, oh, you need to go and get some. It's just that you need to go and get some pills or some medication. You know, a lot of it is solved through avoiding inflammatory foods and cleaning up your diet, not only in terms of your energy, but your overall health. So because I eat now, it's not 100%, not perfect, but it's pretty good in terms of my nutrition plan right now, and I feel great a lot of the time now, energy throughout the day, and avoiding the things that will bring you down. I think protein is obviously a lot of protein is very important, and but making sure that you have those healthy fats in as well, and avoiding things like sugar, high sugar, and these other preservatives and additives that they put into things that are very quick and convenient to eat, and are packaged up into very enticing things to buy. So these are the things that we know that we have to avoid, and everyone can make that change if they know what it is that they have to do. And a lot of the time they don't, but if people know what they have to do and they can assign that and implement that discipline at the same time, then they can make huge changes to their lifestyle, no doubt about it, both physically and mentally.
Exactly. And you've touched on the point perfectly there, that a lot of people just don't know. The more I've looked into and educated myself, the more I've found that essentially, basically everything we're told and taught about nutrition and food is just wrong. Is wrong. Uh, Pretty much all of it is completely false. That, I wouldn't say do exactly this, but as a really broad overview, if you basically did the opposite of what the general nutrition advice is, you'd probably be pretty healthy. I'm not saying go do exactly that, but it's all wrong. And so that's why people kind of find it hard to believe. And you say things to people and they say, why do you eat like that or whatever? And you tell them and they're like, well, that's not true because we're told this. But they haven't actually spent any time to look into, is that true what we're told? People just accept it. And the more you look into it, the more you find out. So that's what I'm trying to, one of the whole goals of this, the podcast and what I'm doing is to try and educate people more on how to actually be healthy, because I think the majority, and this even goes as far as a lot of personal trainers and coaches and people within the fitness industry, they still kind of line up with those beliefs that we're told, which are not true. A lot of them, especially around things like calories and carbohydrates and stuff. There's a lot of people that still, it's just not true what they're saying. So it's just trying to educate people, because like you say, if people don't know, how can they do it? They need to know. So trying to educate people and show them how to do it. And obviously the proof, like you say yourself, is the proof is yourself, how good you feel. If you're doing something and people are telling you, oh no, that's unhealthy, but you're feeling great, getting brilliant results, why would you listen to them? The stories of people getting results from eating like this is unbelievable. I'm of the belief that every single physical condition can be reversed by correct diet, because I've seen just everything being reversed, like conditions that people think are irreversible, reversed by it. So that's my belief, is that everything can be reversed and cured by the correct diet. And I'm trying to educate people and let them know that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of excellent points there, Ryan. I feel exactly the same, and that's really what the science shows when you step outside of the mainstream influence, that you need to, eat, get your breakfast in, and eat throughout the day. It's for me that's just unthinkable now. I'm now in a position where I can go to 7 p.m. at night without taking a single calorie. I can go with water and black coffee till then, and my energy levels are just through the roof. And when I eat, and obviously eat the right stuff, it's earned. It's something that my body is now ready for, and I'm replenishing those getting all those nutrients and replenishing my energy. Because we weren't, way back in the day, we were only eating when we had access to food. So it was very much an evolutionary generational thing that's what we were used to. We would hunt and we would eat when we were able to get food, and that was the natural way. And I think obviously since then that's been lost. Yet a lot of great points there, and you also mentioned that other people, whether it's PTs or doctors, that they'll say that this is what you need to eat, a certain amount at this time, a certain amount at this time. Now, I'm still learning myself, and it's a subject that I'm learning more about. But general in terms of what I know, that's not the best way for longevity and that, and to have health for, you know, all the way through life. Because when you're not eating, I do know that when you're not eating, your body can do all sorts of other things to help you. It can, you know, do restorative work on your skin and your hair. It can repair other things that need done. It can do all other jobs, provide you with burn, you know, existing fat stores that we all have to release that energy and get it distributed through all the way through your body, and it helps improve your mental clarity as well. It gives the body a chance to do all these amazing things that when you're constantly putting food down, it's having to process that, and then these other jobs get neglected. So going through most of the day and allowing the body to work its magic is great for long-term longevity, you know. And that's the principles that I put in place and that I'm trying to learn more about, and in terms of how I feel, that I've never felt more energetic. And actually, I do remember the days where I would just eat breakfast and then have a snack and then eat lunch, and it was almost like, what was I thinking, you know? So, yeah, absolutely. It's about educating yourself on the nuances and stepping out of that kind of mainstream space and seeing what actually is the best way. And often the best way is not the way that most people do it, and people will a lot of people still can't get their heads around the fact that I don't need to eat during the day, you know, and that it's something that is a bit alien to them. But that's the correct way. And as you say, it's getting that information out and educating people that what you're told by, you know, the mainstream and a lot of these other people is not the best way to live a nutritious and healthy lifestyle.
I think with what you said there, that the best way is not the most popular way. I think that's applicable to all walks of life. That
Yeah,
the way
definitely.
that everyone else doing it is unlikely to be the best way. You know, sometimes the in business, in fitness, in whatever it is, you know, doing it the way everyone else is doing it is not going to get you to where you want to be. You need to find the actual best way, or, you know, often the hardest way, which turns out to be the best. Like you said before, nothing good comes easy.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard work. And, you know, like you said, we'll get more into things like intermittent fasting on some other podcasts and stuff. But yeah, like the body can do amazing things when you let it have the time to do it. The human, but I say a lot, the human body is unbelievable when you actually look into the things that your body can do. Like, it's amazing, but you have to, like with the car, you have to give it the right fuel. So if you give your body the right fuel and you treat it the right way, it can do unbelievable things. I think people often underestimate the power of the human body, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that can also be applied to, you know, the physical domain as well. Eating, obviously having nutrition and avoiding a lot of the unhealthy things is really important. But that can also help you in, you know, in the physical domain, that I think a lot of people don't realise their potential and what and how far they can push themselves. And some people have, and they've achieved great results, and that's fantastic. It's just getting, I really believe in trying to get everyone to become a better version of themselves. And I think that just starts with the basic discipline in how you live your life, eating the right things at the right time, and being active. So another example is, you know, I didn't, once I finished gymnastics, I started going into a fight gym and getting involved with that, and I realised, well, that's something that actually took quite well, and started hitting the pads and then started sparring, and it was something that I never thought myself doing, but pushing my body to do that. Obviously, having an athletic background helped, but pushing my body in that sort of challenge, I realised, well, the body is capable of amazing things. It really is. Even in endeavours that you never thought that you could actually participate in or challenge yourself in. And I think it's always about having that challenge. It just gives you that goal to drive yourself, to achieve. And the other thing is the sort of the flexibility aspect. I will be able to do the splits again. Even after all these years, because the body is capable of it if you show discipline and you do the right things. Then it's never too late to learn something. So yeah, it's just that rewiring of your beliefs. I think people have to realign their beliefs, in terms of how they perceive themselves, and that they can be better than what they are. And once they truly believe that, then the actions of actually achieving that become a lot easier, because it's related to that change in beliefs. So that's something else that mindset wise that I find quite interesting, that I'm learning more about. It's about realigning your beliefs first, and then after that, then you can improve your nutrition quite easily, or you can become fitter, you can become faster, you can become better at this, whatever it is. So
Yeah, I think in terms of, especially physically, in terms of things you can achieve, I don't believe people are stopped by physical limitations. I believe it's by mental limitations. Like you said, in your mind, you don't believe that you can do these things. But actually, if you push your body past what you believe you can, you think you're reaching your physical limitations, but it's not. It's your mental limitations. It's what your mind is telling you, that you can't go any further, but actually your body can, and you have to break that, have a stronger mind, and understand that actually you can do a lot more than you believe you're capable of. And obviously, once you can get past that, and then you believe that you are capable of more, then it's going to become easier for you physically, because your mind's not trying to hold you back.
yeah, absolutely, and that's something that I was lucky to realise in real time. I just realise in terms of my mindset through gymnastics. I even remember some routines where at that point in the routine I was just exhausted and thinking about giving up, but just that mental sort of resilience just pushed me through and ended up, I was able to go on and finish the routine. Obviously, things like, the moment of the adrenaline and just being in the moment obviously helps, but overall, when every day there's, even when there's no one around to kind of give you that push, it's that mental strength that can make you push that little bit further. And it all comes from mental, absolutely, the mental side. So that mindset and things like forecast. What I do is kind of anticipating ahead. Or how would you feel if you gave up? It wouldn't be a good feeling. You don't want to feel like that, so keep going. That's something that I always tell myself, and it works great for me. And I think that's something that other people can implement if they really want something. The feeling after it is always better, and yeah, that's something that I use on a daily basis, even if it's, oh, I don't have the energy to do this, write this piece for this reel on my Instagram, or to work out another part of this program, or uh, whatever it is. I'll just apply that sort of that accountability, if you will. That's that it doesn't matter how I feel. I'm holding myself accountable to doing that and just push through.
Absolutely. That's just a strong mind and a strong body go hand in hand. It all starts from the mind. The mind is so powerful, and once you can get that right, get your mindset, then you're off. Anything can be achieved, and it's amazing. I think we've talked quite a lot. I think we'll probably pretty much leave it there for this week. We're going to be seeing you a lot more, Barry. We're going to have some great conversations around different stuff, which I'm really looking forward to. It's great that everyone has got to meet you today and learn a bit about you. And thank you very much for coming on. We'll definitely be seeing you again soon.
Yeah, thanks again, Ryan, for having me on. Much appreciated. Really enjoyed it, and I hope everyone got some value out of that in terms of my story and my background and what I'm working on going forward. And yeah, I look forward to be back on and discussing all things fitness and health going forward. It's been great. So thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. It's great to have your expertise as well. So that's something exciting that people can look forward to on more episodes. And we'll leave it there for this week. We'll see everyone next time. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into the show. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover on the podcast, or you'd like to appear on it, then please contact us at hwpoduk@gmail.com, on our website, which is healthwealthuk.com, or on any of our social medias, which are at hwpoduk. Please make sure you like, subscribe, share it with all your friends and family, and we will see you next week.